Hello and welcome to the Iron Lung podcast with me, Leo.
And me, Aspage.
And me, Leoff. And today we are joined quite kindly by the owner of Tap Select, the Messiah himself, Meni, Sandog, the man of many names, Sanna. All the names that we used to call him in high school, there's loads of them. So,
Too many.
So, yeah, do you want to give people a little bit of information about who you are? If they don't know, people who are watching know you are, but if there's one person that probably won't, so... introduction.
Yeah, well, cheers for having us on, lads.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm Meni, or Dom, or Domenico, if you're going to give me my full Sunday name. And I am the owner/director of Tap Select Limited, a craft beer bar and kitchen situated in the heart of Oswald's Whistle in East Lancashire.
That's a very professional intro. And you threw in a bit of a director in Limited there, which is not something I've heard you hold the title for before.
It's how you do it nowadays. A limited company. So basically, if everything goes tits up, they can't come and take my house away.
Fair enough. That makes sense.
Oh, and if I'm in charge of anything, there's a good chance that might happen at some point.
Yeah, fair enough. It's doing all right so far.
There's still money in the bank account. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see next week. That's when all the bills come out, all my statements from all the various suppliers that I owe money to. But yeah, I'm fairly sure that we'll still be solvent next week.
I think we all feel the same, being like working class people. You get paid at end of month and you're like, this is sick, and then like 2 weeks later your board comes out, obviously because we still live at home, your rent comes out, your car comes out, and then you're like, shit.
I live like a young Saudi Arabian prince for about 12 hours. And then I'm back in the deep dark hole of poverty for the next like 29 days.
Yeah, I look at my paycheck and I'm like, I'm gonna get myself some new t-shirts, I'm gonna get myself a new bass, it's gonna be the best month ever, and then I look back 2 days like, I'm not getting that new bass this month.
Being an old man, I'd like to tell you it gets better, lads, but absolutely. Particularly if you own your own business. Well, specifically if you own your own business. A lot of my friends have proper jobs now and they're all fairly financially solvent.
Yeah.
But I gave up a regular job to do this, and now I'm poor. Permanently.
But would you rather have a little less money and be happy, or the other way around? I'd rather be happy.
Same.
Definitely, yeah. I feel a lot better not teaching anymore.
Yeah.
Basically, not having to get up in the morning when I am physically incapable of getting up in the morning. So yeah, it's definitely it's better for my mental health and my general well-being, I think. But it is absolutely not good for my pension fund. But there's nothing in that. I'm working till I'm 95, boys.
Do you know what you should be doing? You should be putting beers away like each month instead of putting money into the pension. So then at least you retire with low expiry date, obviously.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say
it wouldn't work, would it? I struggle with that. I just realised literally straight into it, but.
The thought was there.
You can drink them off date. It's right. Just a bit of sediment.
I've got a couple of Omnipolo yellow bellies in the cellar that I'm aging. So
you've got yellow bellies.
Yes, mate.
Why is that the first time I heard about that? Are they going to be going on sale eventually? Is that only just for personal?
They're personal private stash.
Keep your hands off your fucking thief.
Yeah.
Jealous, mate, because I've wanted a yellow belly for ages. Have they stopped production of them completely now?
Yeah. So it's they got a cease and desist order because there is another. It's either a brewery that makes a beer called Yellow Belly, or it's a brewery called Yellow Belly, but they were obviously concerned about the trademark and all the rest of it, so they sacked it off.
Yeah, that was the one that they got not in trouble, but there was a little bit of controversy for racism. Was that one?
Yeah. So the project was a brewing project where different breweries got paired together, and then they were given a colour to brew, like a beer themed around. So Omnipolo were paired with Buxton, and they were given the colour yellow. So they were talking about obviously the connotations of yellow and all of the rest of it. And they said, well, what, talking about the phrase yellow belly and what's the most cowardly thing, and it's the hiding your face behind your racism. So the packaging for the bottles, if you've not seen it, it's like a white paper sleeve with two little eye holes cut out.
I'll throw a picture up on screen so I can interrupt there so people can see it. But it was very tongue in cheek, wasn't it? It was sort of like, yes, this is the style of it, but it's more to say sort of like against it, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's the message was obviously that with it being a stout as well, so the insides were black. So it was a statement about the calling the beer Yellow Belly is obviously it's a cowardly act. the brewery, obviously, when they sort of designed it, that's what they had in mind. But people don't think about subtext. People take things at face value, and you see something that's dressed up as like a little KKK bottle. So obviously there was a lot of shock and negative reaction towards it. But you've got to remember that the head brewer for Omnipollo is black, and he's very involved in the process. So it wasn't tongue in cheek, really. It was quite a considered theme for the beer and everything else, and the statement that they were trying to make. But how people interpret stuff and how people feel about things when they see it, I think there was a lot of different reactions to it, and it did, I suppose, in a certain way, get it a bit of a name because there was a bit of a kick-off about it. So it's not done them any harm. So they stopped brewing that beer, and they've done like a follow-up to it, which is the Anniversary Coward, which is quite a striking white can with sort of a fist smashing through a swastika, which I think is the same anti-fascist symbol that St. Pauli use on a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, I'd seen that one when they released it, actually. It's not one you got into the bar at the time when it came out, was it?
I don't think we could manage to get hold of any. And again, I don't know whether they're still brewing that or not now, but in my opinion, it was possibly even a little bit better than Yellow Belly. So if you do see Anniversary Coward knocking about,
I'll check it. Obviously, on the topic of Omnipollo, I had to bring in a nice beer because Meni's here. One that you previously had at the bar as well, something that I had with you last year for my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
And it is a very, very lovely Bianca. It is the chocolate peanut butter pancake Lazzy Goza, so it's
Tasty.
not too bad. Obviously, we've had it before, you've had it before, but I thought, seeing as you're coming on, we'd have a nice beer to try today. So we've got this one. So I'm short to camera. While I'm doing that, I wanted to ask sort of how did you come about Omnipollo, with it being obviously from another country, with it being based in Sweden, very exclusive type of beer. What was your first sort of taste of Omnipollo? Where did you first sort of hear about it?
So when I decided that I was going to try and get more into beer, I don't know whether you want me to talk about my forays into discovering beer. I suppose my little Instagram live thing that I've been doing for the bar, I talk about people's beer origin stories, and
that's actually a question I've got on here because one of the main topics on your Instagram lives is sort of like what the brewery's like sort of personnel, what their origin story was. So I wanted to ask you what your origin story was. That was actually going to be a question.
So I'll cover it now because we're getting
we might as well. We might as well
two birds with one stone.
Kill two birds with one stone. We might as well
preempting your and I've not even seen him.
No.
So yeah. So my beer origin story, when I came of age for drinking with mates, obviously you get given a bottle of lager or a can of lager or whatever at somebody's house, and I just found it revolting. Just didn't warm cans of Carl in the summer, being aged about 16, 17.
It's a British staple, that.
It is, but it tastes actively bad. Honestly, still to this day, I don't know how anybody just drinks it on purpose. So I couldn't understand what people enjoyed about terrible beer. And a mate's dad got me onto Boddington's, which I found a lot more palatable. It was smooth flow, so it was a lot easier to drink. Didn't gas you up the same. I can't say I've got super excited about it or anything. It wasn't. it wasn't like yes, kind of bodies. But it was drinkable, and again, being sort of local-ish from Manchester at the time, because I'm old enough to remember when Boddington's was actually brewed in Manchester before they started brewing it in South Wales or wherever it's brewed now. So I got into sort of drinking bitter and what have you. So then, when we were old enough to go and buy beer, you'd nip to Asda on a Friday, Saturday night before you were going out, get some cans to stick in the fridge. And I noticed that they had all these bottles of weird looking beers. It's all the real ale section. So I was picking up stuff, and I'd get 3 different ones every time because I started trying new ones. And I remember the first time that I picked one up and tasted it and just went, that's tasty. This is really nice. Why doesn't all beer taste like this? Why You know, why can I not find this in the pub? And it was Badger Brewery. There was 2 beers. There was Golden Glory and Golden Champion. So Golden Champion's like their golden ale. It's got really sort of almost honey kind of quality to it. It's really, really tasty. And then Golden Glory, which is brewed with peach blossom. So it gives this beautiful peachy flavour. It smells like peaches. Taste, obviously with the hops and everything else, a little bit more bitter, but it just blew my mind. And then from there on, I was like, well, if beer can taste like this, these can't be the only beers that are interesting or tasty. So every time I saw a new beer that I'd never had before, I thought, well, I'll try that, try and find out what it is. And then going abroad, I've been to Munich on a couple of stag do's. We went to Oktoberfest one year, so drinking lager that didn't taste like it'd been filtered through a 25-year-old ashtray or whatever. That was an experience, trying Weiss beer for the first time and those kind of beers, and then going to Bruges and trying all the Belgian stuff, and it just opened up this whole new thing. So Omnipollo was quite late on, really, and again I'd come across Buxton Brewery, doing the collaboration with Omnipollo, doing a set of their ice cream series beers, and I bought, there was a mixed case, I think there was 8 beers, and I paid £70 for a box.
Really? Jesus. Is that an import as well?
Well, no, they're all brewed in Buxton.
Of course, yeah, because they did the obviously, God forbid, the ones at Tesco. They've just released that one at Tesco.
Don't mention that.
We don't mention Tesco.
No, we don't talk about Tesco.
That's where it's gone from, paying like 70, 80 quid for a box, and then you seeing it in Tesco for 3 quid
a can. Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's upsetting. No, but part of the reason it's 70 quid a can is the 70 quid for the box of mixed stuff was the ingredients, the process involved, and all the rest of it. And at least 3 or 4 of them beers were imperial stouts. So really, on average, you were probably paying about 6-7 quid a bottle, which isn't too bad, really. But trying to explain to people 5-6 years ago that you had spent 70 quid on 8 small bottles of beer.
Yeah, it's like £1.70 for a shit pint.
Yeah. Well, people were just, why would you even do that? I was trying to explain, like, there's one called Rocky Road Imperial Stout, and it tastes like Rocky Road. It's a beautiful, sweet, sickly, delicious thing.
Yeah.
But then that tasting box was like, right, I need more of this, because all of these beers taste amazing. So then hunting down Omnipollo, getting into Manchester, finding places that sold it. I remember going to an event at the Pilcrow where they had it on draft and doing the soft serve and all the rest of it. So
we mentioned on an episode the other day, we were saying sort of like you being one of the sort of only stockists in the Northwest, from what I can
within
say,
an hour's drive,
within an hour's drive, like that realistically stocks it. Like when I've done a couple of shifts at Tap, there was a woman that came in. And she was like, "Oh, I've literally just like been driving around, and I saw that you were selling Omnipollo on your Untapped, so I just came in and wanted to get some Omnipollo." But that's the sort of gravity it has. Like it brings people in because people want to try this beer, because it's getting to a point now where it's like, is that even beer? Like you expect beer to be, even if you're thinking about IPAs or anything like that, you expect it to be like that, and then you come to Omnipollos and it's an otherworldly experience. It's something that, like, pouring that then and smelling it and tasting it, it's like it just makes you feel happy, doesn't it? Like it makes you feel good.
I'm just an absolute slut for Bianca's.
Yeah. I mentioned the other week I prefer the Tefnut. I much prefer the Tefnut. I think the Tefnut is way better than the Bianca, but the Bianca is still lovely.
It depends on the Tefnut. I mean, when I first opened the bar, I mean, the whole concept for the bar was, after going to Bruges in particular, trying all the beers in the relaxed sort of cafe atmosphere. Nobody was being a knobhead. There was no, football wasn't on the TV, and people weren't shouting and were doing karaoke.
Have you never thought about doing karaoke at the bar?
I'd rather jab myself in the eye with a fork. No.
What's your favourite karaoke song, Meni?
No.
If you had to choose a song and you had to go up and perform it as karaoke, what would it be?
If I've ever been incredibly pissed enough to do karaoke, which has happened on maybe a couple of occasions, I tend to do The Bad Touch by the Bloodhound Gang.
Gold. By Spandau Ballet.
I'm familiar with it. But no, I don't quite have the pipes, I don't think, to belt out Gold or do it justice, but I can remember the full rap from the Bad Touch, so I do that.
Fair enough.
And you don't have to be able to sing well to be able to sing the chorus. So
no, you really don't. It's
especially when you half cup.
Yeah, it's a magnificent song, obviously. It's well, to some people. It's more of a humour thing, isn't it, more than anything? Yeah. But you might not have the best pipes, mate, but you have had a lovely collection of guitars.
Oh, yeah.
A lovely collection of guitars. Some that probably I remember now that you don't even have anymore. How many have you got at the moment still?
I've stripped right back, basically, because I'm poor as shit, because the bank makes all my money still. So while that has happened, I've sold off most of my stuff. So at the minute at home, my main guitar is still my Fender Signature Billy Corgan Strat, which I've had for quite a while. I've got a...
I'm just throwing up on screen. Yeah, I'm just throwing up on screen.
It's alright. It's weird.
I'm just like I'm preaching. I'm preaching about these guitars.
I forget that this is an interactive experience. I'm sat here with a microphone, probably just looking like a right stiff.
We're gonna start doing like Black Mirror type stuff, so you can like click through the video and choose your outcome of the podcast. Imagine that. You're like, you die and that. I'd be really funny, wouldn't it? Kill Jester. Worth it, mate.
I love how you just think, right, well, immediately we're going to kill Joe off, and that's...
Who else would you kill? You won't kill Lewis. He's compacting. He protects us from the rats.
I was going to say, if anybody's going to kill anybody, it is going to be Lewis, because he's packing.
He doesn't even need to come packing. He just takes one look and turns his head around. Chin goes into the face and just takes him out with power at chin, don't you? It's the Great Khali. You look just like the Great Khali, mate.
It's just like a fucking wrecking ball attached to his neck. That's all it is.
Sorry to interrupt you, Meni.
It's all right. So yeah, and then I've got a Mexican 72 Tele Deluxe. I'm just trying to think what else I've still got, and my Fender limited run Magnificent 7 offset Telecaster, which is like the Jazzmaster shape, but set up like a telly.
Yeah. Is that the blue one?
No, the blue one was my Mustang, and I traded that for the 72.
I thought the blue one. I always thought it was a Jazzmaster. Did you?
I did. No, I had the Lee Ronaldo signature Jazzmaster. I sold that a while ago. Made a little bit of money on it, so that wasn't too bad. Which very rarely happens. If I buy anything, it depreciates massively, and then when I come to try and sell it, nobody wants it.
Yeah. Guitars, isn't it? I'm going to throw them up on screen as we go past, and you mentioned them. I really liked the. I've always been a big fan of it. I've only probably ever seen you use it once or twice, but the translucent one.
Oh yeah,
that one
I traded that in for the Lee Ronaldo. That was a Legend by Aria acrylic Jazzmaster. Yeah,
I remember seeing Dave Grohl use one very similar on the All My Life music video, and I always thought when I was younger that's the coolest shit I've ever seen. We've got an acrylic kit that we use for St. Michael because I just really like the look. But yeah, I love acrylic, like translucent sort of instruments. I think they look class.
I mean, it was an interesting looking thing, but it weighed about 6 tons.
Did it?
So, yeah, just absolutely no good for your spine or playing a full gig with. Did have absolutely brilliant harmonics though for that guitar. So my Billy Corgan Strat 5th fret, you want to try and hit a harmonic on the 5th fret mainly for tuning purposes. It's dead as. No idea why. Can't get anything out of it. But that thing, I could do. It did a really good version of Citizen Erase by Muse. Is that the one with all the harmonics at the beginning? Which sounded nice. But yeah, that was pretty much all it was good for.
And you've just recently released, obviously it's been done for a while, but released the Symmetry album that's now on all streaming services. There'll be a link then in the description so you can go check it. What is sort of like the process behind that, and sort of why is it taken so long to come out? Because I've listened to a few tracks, obviously from what you've shown me before, and just going over it myself, listening to it, and it sounds alright. It sounds pretty good. And obviously you've got your signature style on the guitar. You can always tell it's Meni when you're playing live, or you.
Cheers, mate. I don't know whether that's a compliment or a backhanded one, but
you take it as you will, because I might be saying that the tone shit, or I might be saying it sounds
just
good.
really passive aggressive for no reason.
We will. use that on the interactive game. So if you think that it's obviously shit or it's good, you can choose and go on to different direction. One option.
I'm not helping you sort this out, mate.
No, I'll sort it. But then one option's obviously you go on. I said that it's shit, and Meni sparks me out right now, and I die. Or I say it's good, and Meni blows up because his ego gets too big. One of them. You don't have a big ego.
No,
I'm not saying that.
I'm incredibly self-deprecating, so I am.
Mood.
Yeah, that is a mood, to be fair.
Yeah, no. So with the Symmetry, Robbie Gallagher, sort of, he was playing with Joe Bamford and Josh, and they've been doing that for quite a while. He'd written all the material and everything, and I think Joe felt like probably could have done with just another guitar to fatten up the sound. So they sort of drafted me in and then went, right, yeah, so we've got these songs and we've booked studio time in like a month or whatever. So I sort of joined the band and then scrambling to write parts for songs that I'd only just heard.
Just chucked you in at deep end.
Yeah, so, I mean, for me, it wasn't super organic. There were a couple of songs that I really clicked with quite quickly, and just these parts came, and I was really sort of happy with them. And then other songs, I felt like it only really needed one guitar. So me being drafted in as a lead guitarist when I consider myself more of a rhythm player was weird to start off with, because I'm not an ego person. I don't have the confidence, I don't think, to sit and say, yeah, I'm a lead guitar player, because I'm not. I'm just, that's not where my skill set is for playing. But that was sort of my job, was to write these little licks and lead lines and these extra parts. So certain songs that Rob had written, obviously written for one guitar, I couldn't really imagine or write anything that I thought fit. So the album we recorded with Mark Jones in Aussie at his little studio, and that was great, and it was nice to get in the studio again, because I'd done little bits over the years, but it was just a rush process. So I think when I listen back to it now, I feel a lot better about the album as a whole than I probably did at the time, because again, I'm very overly critical of my own stuff. So there's things I definitely do again. In hindsight, you listen back to it and you go, oh, that sounds shit, I wish I hadn't done that, or I wish I'd pushed for more time on this, I'd wished I'd spent another half an hour pissing about with my setup, just because I'll listen to certain songs and I go, I just hate the tone, hate how my guitar sounds on this, it sounds shocking. And then other stuff I go, actually that sounds really good. So yeah, it was a learning curve. It was good, and it was a decent experience. I had a lot of fun doing it. And then I don't know, with people working and having kids and various other things that were going on, we did a few gigs here and there, but we weren't, I think we just got to a certain age where we were probably past it, really, to take anything too seriously. And then it just, everything got put back, or one of us said, well, I'll sort this out, and it won't get done, or whatever. And it just came to that point where I think we'd all kind of forgotten about it and moved on. But then Rob, with lockdown and everything else, dug it all out and decided he was gonna put it out anyway. So yeah, I think it's of the time. Whether we'll do anything else or not, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty full on with work now, and you know, Josh has had a little girl, and he's working, he's self-employed, so it gets more and more difficult to find time and have that enthusiasm for doing that kind of stuff.
So is there no immediate plans to start playing shows again, or like release anything else, or is it just kind of sort of like, this is the project we worked on, I'm glad it's out there, and it's
more of the latter, I think, just because we've not really spoken about getting back together and doing anything else. So yeah, for the time being anyway, it's definitely just, here's what we did a few years back, I hope you enjoy it. I mean, if anybody gets in touch or anything comes of it, then I suppose there's discussions to be had, but I mean, it's all right, but I don't think it's that good.
If there was obviously we live in the generation of fast media, and everyone wants to sort of take in media as fast as they can. People don't want to sit down and listen to full albums as much anymore, as which something we've sort of said in St. Michael, it's not good to release an album, it's always good to release singles. Is there a track on the album that you'd say is sort of the sound that would describe Symmetry, or a track that you'd say, if you've not got a full sort of 45 minutes, 50 minutes listen to the album, is there a track you'd say, go and listen to this one, this is the sound that we wanted to go for?
It's weird because some bands you put on a CD and you stream an album nowadays, you listen to an album and it feels very, I don't want to use the word cohesive because it doesn't, but each track sounds very much like that band, so it's all the same style and it fits together fairly well within whatever genre it is they've decided to label themselves as, or whatever they've been labelled as. I think with that Symmetry record, Rob's got a fairly wide base of influences, so each song sits very separately on its own. I don't think it doesn't have that kind of thematic cohesion between it. So depending on what you're into and what kind of music you like, I think there will be one song on the record that you would probably gravitate towards. So if you're more of a pop fan, the big pop single is Irontown. And the thing with Irontown, even though it feels like a kind of like a throwaway pop record, it's probably the best crafted song in terms of lyrics and theme and everything else. It's nice, short, 3-minute perfect pop tune. And listening back to that, I mean, I know the lads got sick of playing it. It's not quite our Smells Like Teen Spirit or whatever, but like asking Joe to run through it at rehearsal and just looking at his face going, I'm not playing this song again. But yeah, I think that's the perfect pop record for me on that album. But then there's The Only Path, which is quite a long, brooding, building piece. You've got The Colour of Blood, which is probably my favourite song. Again, I wasn't necessarily happy with how the tone came out on the final recording. We did a demo recording of it, and I sat at home on my own little digital 8-track thing, and I'd sort of nailed the solo on there, and I'd nailed my tone and all my delays and everything else. It sounded great, and then we went in the studio, and I don't know what it was. We just couldn't get it right, and then I sort of turned all the effects off and said, I'll leave it to Mark to try and do it in post, and it just didn't come out quite how I wanted it.
I think on the front cover as well, it's a lovely image of the Aki Norais, isn't it? Obviously homage to where we come from, Accrington, the famous Accrington Norais. What was the sort of idea behind that? Was it just more of like a general homage to sort of being from the area, or is it something that's a little bit more laced within the concept of the album?
It was a vision that Rob had for the record. I think it's very personal to him, and being very proud of where he comes from. Accrington is the place that made us, I suppose, in a certain sense. So he wanted something that reflected that, and you can't get much more iconic than the old Aki Norai brick. He took some photos, and I pissed about within Photoshop, and that is the cover that you got. And then he made a big thing about, right, the album's definitely coming out, it's being released on such and such day, it's going to be on Spotify, it's going to be on Apple Music. So I'd sent him the artwork and everything, and then he went, oh crap, Meni, the people who are releasing it have just sent me an email saying there's too much text on the front of the album. So then I had to go back into Photoshop, and I had to scrape out all of the Aki Norai bits, that you could see, because it just had to say the Symmetry Home on the cover. So after all that, it doesn't even see it anyway. There's one little bit, I think, that says Norai that you can just about see. That left kind of visible, but
the man always trying to bring you down. It's always the man trying to bring you down. Buggers.
Just shitting on your creative vision.
I know, buggers. It doesn't even matter if you're not signed to a big label, mate. They'll always try and bring you down. Bastards. Who released it?
I think he just put it out through TuneCore, but there's certain rules about it. If you've got any text on your cover, it's got to be the name of the band and the name of the album. You can't have extraneous stuff on there, which is fair enough, but Rob didn't check that before he asked me to do the artwork. Fair
enough. Cool. So we're going to cut to a quick break here. Obviously, I think we're just going to do a tap site advertisement again because it was fun last time. Sweet. So we're going to cut to that, and then we'll be back in a second. Meni's just tried to destroy himself with a microphone.
Forgot it was there.
We're back in a second. Definitely forgot to do the ad break in the middle of the episode this week. It's one of them. Go drink at Tap Select and also and that. It's open. Go get your good beers and that. So back to the episode. And we're back. Thank you for joining us back on the second half. We're going to start this one with Spanish lingo of the week. So, Lewis, come down and we will hear your Spanish lingo of the week this week. Great Carly, everyone. Woo! Put your head against the mic. Can't hear you. What did you say?
What, you need to stop introducing me as a great collie.
Why? You look like him.
Yeah, I know, but I'm built better than him, bro.
I don't know about that, mate. He's about a foot taller than you. And he's hench. You've just got tanned arms.
Wait until you get to
That's so funny. So, great collie, what is your Spanish lingo of the week?
This week is, can I have, oh wait.
Oh, no,
I
that's
go in
English.
Spanish.
English
Right, try
English
again.
lingo of the week.
Una caña, por favor.
Una caña no, por favor. What does that mean?
It means, can I have a beer, please?
Oh, that is
I
cute.
was going to spice it up and say a pint of Stella or a pint of wife beater, but I thought that's not.
Stella is a
Many
wife
won't be
beater.
happy.
Stella is a wife beater.
Hello?
So, can I have that again for the people at home?
Una caña, por favor.
Fantastic. And again, if you're at home and you do want to try saying that and you want to send us a video of you saying that, we will feature it in next week's
If
episode.
anyone sends us a video of them trying to say Spanish, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, but it'll happen one day. It's bound to
It'll
happen
just be
one
you.
day. Yeah, it will
I was
be.
gonna
Oh,
say,
we've
let's
just
be
got a
honest.
message from
Counting dogs.
from Counting Dogs, and they've said it. Oh wow, amazing. Anyway, we'll get Meni back on. So as always, get behind the camera, dickhead. Great Carly, everyone. Lewis Taylor, we love you. We love what we do. Fantastic. So, Sandog, Meni, the Spectacular, the Messiah.
Yes, mate.
If you was on a desert island, right?
Oh dear.
You
Here
was
we
on
go.
you was on a desert island, right? And there's a couple of like swallows behind you, but the big bastard swallows, right? And they're
They're
coming there, and they're hard bastards.
What's this
see?
Pokemon?
Yeah. And they're
Alright.
coming, but you can't catch them because if you're on a desert island, you ain't got.
I haven't got any Pokeballs, have I?
Yeah, you've not got any, mate. But you do have your Pokedex, so you can obviously identify that it's a
Yeah,
massive fuck off swallow. You know what
Obviously.
I'm saying? So they're coming there and they're coming at you, but you don't give a shit, right? Because you've got your iPod Shuffle clipped to your dungarees.
Oh,
right?
mate, you don't know me very well at all, then, do you?
No. Why you wouldn't have
So-
an
Sony Walkman.
I don't own any Apple products, mate, 'cause it's overpriced shite.
for the purposes of the story? You have an iPod Shuffle attached.
I've got my old Creative Zen Micro.
Well,
attached
I'll
to me.
I'll obviously rephrase it for you. Then you've got your Walkman with you.
Oh, all right.
You've
all
got your
right.
Walkman
Grandad's
with you.
here,
You've
right.
got your Walkman with you, and you've
Yeah.
got a mixtape on there. Mixtape of 5 tracks. What would be your 5-track Desert Island EP? And it doesn't have to be a pre-existing one, and it's not albums, just singles that you would compose into your mixtape.
Oh God. I mean, thinking about, I'm one of those apparently psychopaths who just has one gigantic fat playlist of all the songs that I like.
No, that's me as well.
Yeah,
It's not
and
me.
then I just leave it on shuffle. So in
Yeah.
my car, generally it's still like 2004, which I enjoy thoroughly because every time I'm getting old, every time the radio comes on in my car, literally this happens. The ignition goes on, I sit there, the radio comes on, and I go, "Shut up." Yeah, or
You're not a fan of Doja Cat then?
just most things I'm not a fan of anymore. Just everything infuriates me because I'm old as shit.
Fair enough.
So I've just started. I purely listen to Spotify in the car. Yeah, so stuff that comes on regularly. I mean, we're talking like just bangers or
Bangers, all-time favourite tracks.
All
Something
time.
that you literally, if you had 5 tracks to listen to for the rest of your life, that you couldn't live without.
I mean, that's so hard. It's like when you like music. I think when people say, "What's your favourite song?" You're
It's
going,
so
well,
difficult.
It depends what day of the week it is, what
Yeah.
the weather's like outside, just what you're in the mood for. And certain things, music has that thing where you apply certain albums or certain songs to a certain period of your life, and it just hearing it, if you've not listened to it for a while, just immediately transport you back to certain places. Like if I hear sort of Taking Back Sunday, that sort of takes me back to the summer when I was maybe I'd just passed my test, so being probably 17, 18, and that summer was really hot, and that album came out, so what, 2002, maybe 2001,
Which one is that? I can never
Tell All Your Friends.
I thought it would Tell All Your Friends. I just can never. I tell you the artwork. It's that Big Blue album, but I just can never remember what it's called.
But
I do love that album.
See, I've not, and anything after that, I never really got into Taking Back Sunday. So the later stuff, I didn't really like the second record, and I've not followed them since. But that album at that time, if I hear those songs, it's like immediately I'm driving my beautiful white Mark 1 Fiat Punto.
Big boy with the big bucks.
Yeah, just razzing it around at like 2 o'clock in the morning in the middle of nowhere, just for something to do.
Just because
petrol was cheap as shit.
So what's a track off that album then?
Oh well, that wouldn't be in my top whatever, but I was just thinking about.
Oh, in general, right? I see.
Yeah, I think for pure riff based bangers, I had an idea then. I actually had one in my mind, and now because I'm old and senile, it's just disappeared.
It happens to me every day, man. I do think I'm 6-year-old sometimes, like genuinely. It's bad. Sorry.
5 songs, 5 bangers. There would have to be a Deftones tune on there, and I think my current favourite in terms of just fat riff at the minute is Risk from Diamond Eyes, just because it's just got that big fat chug, and when it comes on, kicks in, it's it really does it for me. And I mean, I love At the Drive-In, so there'd have to be an At the Drive-In on there. And again, like in terms of a banger, probably have to be Lopsided for me. I really like that track. I really like the end of that track. If your map is torn, navigate. If your compass broke, navigate. I just love shouting that bit in the car as I'm driving about. So we've got them two. It can't be a party in Meni's car without some Hellish Heroes on. Yeah. So got to be I Can Climb Mountains.
Yeah,
or
fantastic track.
It's got to be that
track.
Smashing Pumpkins as well, probably. Even though I fell out of love with them years ago. So they played Leeds when they kind of half reformed, but hadn't reformed. It was a con. It was just Billy Corgan and Jimmy Chamberlain, and then I found out Jimmy Chamberlain had been in the band for about another 5 minutes, and Billy had sacked him again. Yeah. But they played at Leeds, and they did new song, old song, new song, old song all the way through the set, and it was ace. I had a great time, and then we ordered tickets to go and see them at the Apollo in Manchester, and I think tickets were like 40 quid, which nowadays didn't really seem that much, but at the time you didn't pay more than 20-25 quid for a gig ticket.
I'm not paying more than 30 quid for a gig ticket usually. Anyway, I just snuffed my nose when I had to buy them Architects tickets, and they were like 55 quid.
Yeah. So anyway,
even Ring were like 45.
Yeah, well expensive.
40 quid at the time, and we went, and he decided that he was going to play all of the miserable songs off like Adore. Which, if you really like Adore, I'm sure it was a great show. But you could feel the tension in the room building because everybody was just getting really pissed off. And it got gone 10 o'clock at night, and they played Cherub Rock, I think, 2-3 songs from the end. And that gig, people were booing and getting really, really knocked off. It got to the end, and they went, "Thanks for coming out to see us. Hopefully we'll be back soon. Next time we might even play some songs that you like," because he's such a dick like that. So yeah, I remember getting really angry and was like, "That shouldn't be able to call that Smashing Pumpkins." So I'm not gonna pick like Zero, or I'm gonna go Cherub Rock. I think probably because that's a big fat riff. So that's how many have I had now? 4. I've got one more, probably because I'm a big sweaty nerd. It's got to be a Coed and Cranberry Shack as well, because
I was wondering when that was coming. I was getting a bit nervous thinking you weren't going to mention it.
That's always got to be Devil in Jersey City, I think.
Really?
Just for the pure punky chug of the guitar sound on that track, makes me want to drive really fast.
I'm such a massive fan of No World for Tomorrow. And I know you're not the biggest fan of that.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But I love that album. It's No World for Tomorrow, that album is called that, isn't it?
Yeah. Got Apollo 2, which is No World for Tomorrow. Feathers is on that album, and Gunslingers and Gravediggers.
And Feathers and that stuff. I love them. I really love that album. And then I always forget the album titles for these as well because they're just ridiculously long. The one, is it Good Apollo? I'm Burning Star 40. Is that the one with the red cover?
Yeah, so that's Good Apollo 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah, I like that album as well.
There's some bangers on that.
Yeah, what's that one song that's like really slow on that album called? It's called Wake Up. Is it that one? That I love that song. What a great track that is. Amazing track. Oh, it's a very interesting 5-track.
I mean,
EP.
But it could literally be loads of stuff because I listen to all sorts. But I think just for pure bangers of my youth. In no way is that depressing. It was such a long time ago. I think my youth was like 20 years ago now.
Yeah. Sad times.
I'm closer to 50 than I am to 20.
Yeah, I'm
nearly dead.
Nearly dead. Well, every day is a crawl to death, isn't it?
Just a slow trudge to misery and the end.
That's fair enough. And if you was drinking a beer with that 5-track EP on that desert island, what would that be?
That's a slightly easier one, I think. Even though I never gave it a 5 out of 5 rating, I just think that I could sup it all day. Well, no, I'd get a horrendous heartburn because it's a sour, but a beer that I had in the Buxton tap room, and they had Trolltunga on tap. Gooseberry and beer is ace because it's really sharply tangy, and that for me really, I drank it all night. It was beautiful, loved it. So yeah, probably Trolltunga.
Cool. And if you had to choose between shaving off your beard or going back to teach at school, what would be the better alternative?
I'd probably go and teach.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think no, I couldn't cope with that.
You couldn't grow it back either.
No,
not making it better. You couldn't even have the soul patch.
No, I'd back to teaching for me then.
Really?
Yeah,
really.
No, just because I trimmed it back really short, and I just remember how terrifyingly small my chin is, and how ridiculous I look without it. So yeah, jawline for the rest of my life wins, I think. Just face off.
What's been the most challenging experience you've had at the bar, in terms of maybe working with a certain company or working with the general public? What's been something that you thought, fuck, is this really the job I want to do? Has there ever been an experience like that?
No, because I knew it'd be a hard sell from the offset, because of just where we are and what people are used to, and that initial period of being open. That first December we opened, we thought we need to get open as soon as possible because it's Christmas and it's going to be busy. And then we opened that first weekend in December. It was like the 6th of December. It was the Thursday, and we had a steady night. And then Friday, Saturday, we just got absolutely hammered every single weekend right through. The amount of beer we were going through was unbelievable. But it was mainly draft because people were just coming in, pint of lager. And then when it settled, it was a tough period after that first Christmas because you get into the winter months and it's cold and people don't really want to go out. A few weeks we did like very little, but it's slowly built up and we've got a decent set of regulars and everything. There was a lot of having to have a spiel at the beginning and repeating the same things to people, like explaining what the bar is about, explaining that we don't serve spirits, explaining what the different types of beers are. But I was quite happy to do it because I kind of felt like it was worthwhile educating people. And I suppose that comes a little bit from being a teacher. I never wanted to be a teacher. There was things that in fact, list of 2 things that I really didn't want to do. 1, be a teacher, and I ended up being a teacher. And 2, running a hospitality venue, and I've ended up doing that as well. So maybe one day I'll pick something that I probably thought. I wanted to be a paleontologist when I was a kid. I wanted to dig up dinosaur bones. I fucking wish I'd stuck with that, I tell you.
We all wanted to be a dinosaur at one point, mate.
Not a dinosaur.
Well, you are a dinosaur at this point.
I did go to school with a girl who, when she was asked what she wanted to be when she grew up, she said she wanted to be a jack-in-the-box.
Oh, what the fuck?
You know.
Why would you want to be a jack-in-the-box?
Bless her. I have no idea. She was interesting.
God bless her cotton socks.
Yeah. I mean, we were all little, but I'm a paleontologist, and I could spell it and everything. Aged 5, 6, and
flex.
And then this kid's in there going, yeah, Jack in the Box. All right.
Kids have the weirdest answer for things that they want to be when they're older, don't they?
Kids are brilliant.
Yeah,
They're not. They're the worst, and they're brilliant with some of the stuff they come out with.
You either get like from like my younger brother and stuff. You've always got the I want to be a footballer, or just something so random. Like my little brother Sam has the honestly like the maddest knowledge of sharks. Like, that kid knows so much about sharks. Like, it's so random. You speak to him about sharks, and he'll go on for about 3 hours just about facts, and you're like, I don't even know that what you want about. I didn't know what a megalodon was until he told me. I was, like, blown away by his knowledge, but kids.
Man's just a shark encyclopedia now.
Yeah, he is. Like, spit down. He actually is. Spit down. Do you tend to find this sort of, other than house, sort of a beer that's catered towards the community of Oswald's that's kind of like struck with them more than anything else? Obviously, house is your standard. People come in and go, have a pint of lager. You give them house. But even still, like, house is still a fantastic tasting lager. But is there anything else that you think when you get it in, you know it's going to sell?
Yeah, well, I took quite a while to decide on the first lineup of beers because I wanted to put stuff on that I thought there was enough range between each of the beers that could find something for everybody, because there were always going to be people who came in and went, has there no Ample? Has there no bitter? Has there no this? And going, no. So we put Kutch on, and Kutch was probably the best beer that we had on from Tiny Rebel when we started, and that was an award-winning beer back in 2015 or whenever. But it didn't have quite the impact that I thought it would, because people who just wanted a pint of bitter, what they really wanted was something on a mixed gas line, nitro line. So smooth and wet, and didn't really taste too much, so they can drink loads of it. But like we put neck oil on initially because I knew that some people might have heard of it, and there'd be a certain amount of pull for that. We switched to House Party not long after that, and we've kept House Party on from Lervig because it's a good gateway beer. If you like lager, but you've decided you want to try something that's a bit more interesting, it's that next level up. So you still got the pale malt, but you've got that fruitiness from the hops that makes it that little bit more interesting. I think my secret weapon was always having a fruit beer on tap.
Yes, so many of our friends loved having the Lambic Creek, or just like what you've not got that one on anymore, have you? You've got the one from you used to have Lindemans.
No. So when we started, we had the Floris Framboise, which is a raspberry flavoured Belgian wheat beer. So wheat beer, and that was really popular. Had a really nice tang from the raspberry, because so many people come into the bar and go, I don't like beer. He said, well, what is it? What beer is it you don't like? Oh, what do you mean? It's all the same. It's all lager, isn't it? And you go, right, okay.
Literally every conversation I ever came to whenever I get a new beer.
Yeah, it's all the same. And you go, well, no, it's not. Just try that. And then they go, well, is this cider? And you go, no, it's beer. And then you explain it's a fruit beer, it's from Belgium, it's all the rest of it. And then suddenly, because it tastes completely different to what they're expecting, you've created that initial bond of trust where they've gone, all right, this person has shown me something, and they've promised it wasn't going to taste like beer, like beer, what they expect beer to taste like, and then they're more willing to listen to you and let you then guide them through other flavours and stuff, because the possibilities of flavour within beer are massive. Not everything has to taste like lager, and I'm glad it doesn't, because I don't like lager. That's part of the reason I wanted to open the bar, because I'm sick of drinking lager in pubs, because that's the only thing that they sell. Or the majority of what they sell. So the having the fruit beer was definitely a winner. And then we switched to the Creek because I really like lambic beer and a nice cherry tang to it. It's really good beer. We're lucky that the supplier imports it from Belgium, so we can always get hold of it, and it's been a mainstay since.
Very nice. And House is obviously it's actually another beer, isn't it? It's just you've renamed it House in terms of Tap Select. What actually is House?
What is in them secret kegs? So it's actually called Bavo Pilsner. So when I set up the account with the supplier, they said, "Oh, well, we've just got a basic lager that we get from Louis Brewery, which is the Delirium brewery in Belgium. They import a lot of the Delirium stuff, but they also at that brewery they also brew the Florist stuff. They brew Fruly there, so they've got quite a few brands that come out of that brewery. So they just brew this house lager, and they said, look, you can call it Bavo, which is what it's called, but if you want to brand it as your own house lager, they don't mind. We'll do a little tap batch for it. So yeah, we just stuck with that because I thought by calling it house makes sense. It's more approachable, although you would be surprised the amount of people in Aussie and surrounding areas who can't say the word house because it's spelt the German way instead of the English way.
It's not surprising.
I'll have a pint of that house or ours. That or ours.
That one not left.
That lager. Yeah, no problem.
We got there.
I thought it'd be easier because it's Belgian. It's brewed in Belgium. It's a Pilsner, and Pilsner originally is a Czech style. So I thought, well, we'll call it house, the German style of Pilsner, because if the word house that's pronounced house in Dutch or Flemish is spelled Huis, so that would be impossible for people to manage.
Who is?
Part of the who is. Hoys.
Yeah, you can't read anyway.
Hoys. Yeah. So I thought there's no chance people manage that, but surely they can manage house.
Yeah.
Just no. But
No, they can't.
A lot of people can't do that either.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. So just my expectations of people's basic.
Sort of like people being literate in the town of Oswestwhistle.
Oars.
Mate, you was a teacher for.
Yeah, I should
absolutely.
Yeah, you should have realised.
know better.
You had me and Leo come through in your classes. You should have expected it.
Like they're just working as a teacher and going, right, children, today your task for the first part of the lesson is there's a worksheet on your desk. I want you to read the task on the worksheet, and then I want you to complete the worksheet. And then the first hand goes up immediately. Yeah, sir, but what do we do? Read the sheet. Please read the sheet, and the sheet will tell you what to do. Yeah, but what are we doing? And just the vein on the side of my head's pulsing.
Yeah.
Because basically they don't want to know work out what it is they have to do. They just
want to be shown.
Fill this sheet in for me because I don't really want to do anything. I understand. I could be lazy as well.
I think obviously, well, not I think. I know you're a massive beer enthusiast anyway. Part of probably the whole reason why you set up the bar. And there's got to be beers that come in that you don't like as much. Beers that you're just like, I never want that ever again in my life. Do you do a lot of sort of like prior testing to beers when you bring them in? Has there ever been a beer that you thought, I cannot sell this shit? Like, no, thank you.
No, I try and only order from breweries that I know that have a fairly decent reputation. If a brewery's got a reputation for being inconsistent or just not very good, me and some mates went out in Clitheroe yesterday. We were trying different beers from different breweries, and most of them had a decent pedigree. And then somebody ordered a beer from a brewery that I won't name, but I know that the reputation for that brewery is not particularly great. And then the name of the beer versus what the style was very confusing. And it tasted fine, but it wasn't what it said it was. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing I struggle with. So I'd avoid certain breweries based on that. Untapped helps. If you look on Untapped prior to ordering anything that gets 3.5 plus is a decent beer. And it doesn't mean that you won't take a punt on something because it's got a low score, particularly with sour beer. So a lot of people will buy sour beer knowing that they don't like sour beer and then give it 1 star and complain about the fact that it's sour.
It's too sour.
Because people are divs. But yeah, so occasionally we do get a beer in from a decent brewery that we've had lots of good stuff, and it just doesn't quite meet my expectations for what I would hope it to be. And then I do struggle a little bit to sell it. Because people always like, well, what do you recommend, or what's good this week, or well, I've tried this, you need to have one of these because it's belting. But then other times there's certain other things that I just don't grab out the fridge, and then we tend to have it that little bit longer. It's not that it's a bad beer. I don't think we've ever had anything that I've tasted that's been disgusting, but it's just not. I'm that passionate about it. I can't just grab something out of the fridge and thrust it on somebody if I don't think that it's good, which definitely people appreciate that because they trust me to recommend something that I know that they will like because I've learned over recommending stuff for them previously. Yeah, that's quite important. We were talking about terrible beer though. We did have not in the bar, but we were talking about beer from a certain brewery that was particularly bad. My mum had picked it up in whichever supermarket it was because it sounded interesting. It was a peanut butter pale ale, and we cracked it, and it stank of just dirt. It smelled like dirt, tasted like dirt. The mouthfeel felt like sandpaper. It was just really coarse bubble. It was just horrible. It was really, really bad. And if you look that up on Untapped, I might show it you later. All the reviews are like, this is disgusting, please don't drink this.
Yeah.
However, because my mum had bought a few bottles, she did pour it into a stew. Lovely. Really, really nice.
So dirt goes really well with stew, boys.
You name and shame him, Leo can bleep it out.
Cooking craft beer.
Yeah, I'll bleep it out. Tell us who it was and I'll bleep it out.
Just the dirt.
It was,
Yeah. I will bleep that out as well. Leo, bleep that out. I'll put a censor as well.
Because I don't want to talk shit about people, but it was horrendously bad.
Yeah, one of my questions on here was has there ever been a brewery that you've worked with that have been a pain in the arse? But obviously we won't touch on that. Don't want to dish any dirt out.
No, I don't think anybody's been a pain in the arse. We've had like this last few weeks has been quite a bit of drama on Facebook and on Instagram in particular about certain breweries selling out. So basically putting stuff on supermarket shelves, and I get why it's happening. I get why the supermarkets want a piece because they just all they're bothered about is market share. So they've got shelf space, a massive amount of shelf space in their gigantic units. Therefore, they can afford to stick some craft beer on the shelves. It's just that because they're buying it in such volume, they can afford to knock the price down. So independent retailers who specialise in these things, who buy things specifically for their customers and tailor it to them, I can't buy it sometimes for what supermarkets sell it for. So particularly like the Omnipolo that was in recently, so the Buxton collab that was in Tesco, and the Cloudwater stuff that's in there now that they're brewing at Brewdog, and it was all kicking off. So there's that little feeling of being let down by people that you feel that we've played not a massive part, but we've played a little part in supporting those and helping to build them up over the last few years, and then suddenly, all right, well, we're going to start selling stuff to supermarkets for less than you can buy it for, because we've got a massive contract brew on
money attractions.
Yeah, but I get it, especially after this last year. To be financially viable going forward, you're taking the security of a big fat corporate contract, then
fair enough.
Because nobody gets into these things to stay poor or for the company to go under because of the pandemic or whatever.
I think Omnipolo were quite clever with the one that they did with Buxton for Tesco, because they never advertised it. I know it was an Omnipolo beer, but if you look at the can, your searching's fine where it says Omnipolo. So I saw people reviewing it and they were just saying it was the one with the ice cream turd on the front of it. And no one knew it was Omnipolo.
I remember you mentioning it to me, saying, "Oh, have you had this from Tesco?" I was like, what? No, I didn't even know that Omnipolo was in Tesco. I was looking for it for a solid 10 minutes, like trying to find it.
You won't notice it.
It wasn't even the first Omnipolo to hit supermarkets. So Morrison's
they did the
last year had the
Pecan,
the Noah,
the Noah,
Imperial Stout.
I think it's kind of like seeing a band you like signed to a major, especially when you're like into like punk music and that sort of stuff, because the independent style of the craft, it's like it was always like this is a movement, this is a revolution in beer, and we're going to take over. But then when it actually takes over and they sell out, you're a bit like, fuck these guys.
Feel betrayed.
Feel betrayed. And it must be awful for you, because you've spent I noticed like when you first opened, you had a lot more sort of like Northern Monk, Tiny Rebel and stuff like that on, and the shift now has been more towards local breweries, sort of Strata, Rivington, people like that, people that don't sell in supermarkets. Is that something that's been sort of intentional, or is that something that you've just been kind of like, I like these guys, I'm going to
I'm a big believer in supporting local. So being able to and being lucky enough to be situated in an area that's got such great breweries anyway, I'd rather give my money to the lads at Rivington and at Strata and at Chain House and even like Northern Monkey in Bolton. They're knocking out good beer. And I know that there's a lot of hype and a lot of fear of missing out with craft beer and everything. It's sort of fallen into that the age that we live in now, people see stuff and they want it and they have to go and get it. And if you don't get it, then so there's a lot of people who like really into importing hype breweries from America or from wherever, and even though some of that stuff's amazing and because it's limited, there's something nice about owning it and trying it. Just where we are and what's being produced, and there's so many breweries. I've got like a list, like a mental list really, of people that I've heard of or I've heard people talking about, little breweries all over the place, and I want to try and get around everybody at some stage. It's difficult though, because like you take a punt on a brewery for the first time. So Play over in Middlesbrough, when we were in lockdown, Phil just sent me a message on Instagram. Do you want some cans? Yes, because I couldn't get anything. The suppliers were shut, the wholesalers were shut, breweries had shut down, people weren't brewing. So getting stock was like impossible at one stage. So definitely wanted some cans, and he just said, no worries, I'll bring them over. I'm like, what? From Middlesbrough? You're like, I'm out everywhere. I'll drop them off.
I love Play Brew Co, by the way, just to interrupt you there. Like, they're genuinely one of my favourites you've had in there. Like, a couple of them, like, when you had was it like the Hot Stepper and the Lady Luck?
We've got Hot Stepper back in stock.
Have you?
I know you like a West Coast.
Yeah,
so
I do love a West Coast. See, he knows his customers. He knows his customers.
Bought it with you in mind, because it was a choice of, because they rebrewed Hot Stepper and Double Dash, and then there's a new Pineapple Goza this week. So we just put that in the fridges. So yeah, we got the Hot Stepper in cans, we got the Pineapple Goza in cans, and then we've got a keg of the Double Dash to go on.
Nice. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, it's all right. But having taken a punt on somebody like Play, and then finding out actually these guys are brewing some really good stuff, so you want to keep supporting them because you've built that relationship with that brewery. But then at the same time, if I'm stocking Play, then that's one less space in the cellar for cans from somebody else that I've not bought anything off yet. So trying to get around people and rotate and what have you has been difficult. I just wish we did a bit more volume, but because of where we are, we're only ever going to, and especially at the minute with the pandemic and the restrictions and the amount of space that we've got inside, there's only so much beer a week we can physically sell. I'm just hoping that when the restrictions start to come down, there's a lot of new housing and stuff being built around us. So there's a guy came in with his family this weekend for the first time. They've moved here from out of area because of all the new housing. And he lived in Germany for 20 years, so he just wanted Augustiner. So Augustiner in the fridge, we'll have them, ace. And he came in specifically for that. So I'm just hoping that when we're back to normal, it'll build up a little bit more, and we can shift more volume, and then I can rotate more breweries, and I can support more of the industry than just some of the big names that people want, like your Cloudwaters and your Daya and what have you, and get some of the little guys or the people that we haven't managed to get anything off yet.
Yeah, that's class. I think one of the best things about Tap, with the events that you're doing, like the Tap takeovers, obviously you've had Magic Rock, you've had Tiny Rebel. Obviously COVID's been a massive hit on doing something like that anyway. But do you think it'd be harder to do a takeover with a company like Rivington, in terms of having maybe not enough grass? I know in the area they are quite popular. And I know they've got the tap room quite close. Do you think that'd have an impact on being able to do more takeovers, or would they have to be more centre focused towards the bigger companies?
No, I think we went with Magic Rock early doors because of the way that I could see them potentially going with the corporate buyout and everything else. So I know that there's a lot of people who are going to change the way they feel about Magic Rock going forward if there's considerable brand damage, I think. I mean, at the minute it's all right for me. I think they're still knocking out some fairly decent stuff and what have you. So we got them in early doors. We had a great relationship with the rep for this area. She's lovely, and she came down and she did a bit of a talk to people outside while we had the takeover. The same with Tiny Rebel. Customer feedback was that was the brewery that they wanted to see for an event. So we've done a couple of Tiny Rebel events. But yeah, I really want to do more tap takeovers. But again, if you can't build it up to be a big enough event for a small bar like us, where we are, we're not necessarily cycling through kegs fast enough. So if we're taking off the house lager and the cherry beer or whatever to put other things on, and then whatever's on that line takes a week, sometimes 2 weeks to get through before we can put that other beer back on. You know, that's an issue for us because that's upsetting the regular trade and all the rest of it. So it's a balancing act. But I think the thing I've missed most about the bar not being open is the events, is doing the tap takeovers and getting breweries to come down and see us as a venue and as somebody who wants to support them. So in terms of the next event, I think booking anything big this year indoors until there's definitely no more restrictions is a dangerous game. So I've penciled a little something in for August Bank Holiday weekend with a brewery that we do get a lot of stuff off. I won't say anything just yet, just in case it's not going to come off. But and I want to do them more regularly. I want to try and wean people off having the house lager or whatever, and try and get them to try more stuff, and it being acceptable to rotate things even more than we do. I want to spend. I mean, it's going to cost a bit of money, but I want to get 3 new lines on, so we've just got that extra flexibility in terms of draft. I mean, I know it makes it a pain in the ass trying to get people to pick something when they don't know what they want in the first place, because instead of a possible 8 beers, there'd be a possible 11 beers or whatever. But I still think it's worth it. I think the ethos of it being rotational craft beer is important. Getting people to try new stuff and shock them out of that. This is what I like. I'm only ever going to drink this.
Yeah, cool, class. I'm glad to hear it. That's a nice sentiment to end on. I like that. So we're going to cut quickly here. We're going to play rock, paper, scissors outside to see who's getting shot this week, because Meni doesn't want to be shot, which is fair enough.
I didn't really come here for to be physically assaulted. I mean, I'm not being funny, boys. It's just it doesn't do it for me.
Well, he's not going. Actually, we'll do a substitute obviously for Meni. So when we put it on the leaderboard, we'll put Meni as the name, obviously, but it'll be one of us getting shot. So in good gesture from the Iron Lung fork here, we'll put you on the leaderboard, but we'll sub out one of us. So don't worry, you'll be included.
Cheers,
don't worry about it.
I don't think he's that bothered, to be honest.
I have to work, so if I'm physically injured in any serious kind of way, I just can't afford it. That's my excuse. I'm sticking with it.
I'm not looking forward to this because it's going to be me in it, and I really don't want to get shot either, to be honest. Right. Anyway, so we're going to do a quick cut here. Don't cut the camera because we'll just do the outro, and then we'll go outside so Meni can get going. So yeah, we're going to do a quick cut here. See us getting shot, and then we'll be back. Alright, welcome to the Iron Lung shooting range once again. Meni didn't want to get shot, which is fair enough. He is old, to be fair, he's bounced. So we're just doing the quick shooting now. Because it's between the three of us, we're going to do rock, paper, scissors, shoot to see who's going to get shot, and I'm really fucking hope it's not me. Alright, are you ready, Lewis?
You ready? Alright. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh,
best out of three.
Yeah, let me put that off there, man.
Fucking pass the camera. Fucking ready.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Fuck off.
We do best out of three.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, fuck it, I knew it was going to be...
Mind games, bro. I'm in your head.
So, I'm going to get shot. Can't be arsed with it, like. I'm going to stand at a distance. So, yeah, let's see what happens. Fuck's sake. Please don't shoot my head or my legs.
You shoot. Yeah, lots of loaded. Jeez.
You ready, princess?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did you hit him?
Yeah.
Got my arse.
Oh.
What's going on? Put mag in, lad. Oh, there's no gas in it. You're lucky you ran out of gas.
Well, that was shit. So obviously just had a bit of technical difficulties there, but obviously as you saw, I got chosen on rock, paper, scissors, and then Joe shot me in the arse and it didn't hurt. So I want to test it again and see if it actually hurts. So let's roll it, see what happens. Joe, fucking do it, lad. Can't shoot us when I'm like that, can you? Come on. Ah, there's a sting of it, you fuck off.
Red beer.
It does sting a bit, you know. It actually does sting. Bloody hell, that does sting a bit actually. Jesus Christ. Oh, bloody hell. Well, there we go, I got shot. Fucking hell. We've got Chris Kenya on next week. What you didn't see behind the scenes is that we've got some like MP40s and stuff. So we're going to shoot him with that. So Chris Kenya, you're getting shot next week. Bloody hell, I deserve it actually. Jesus. Anyway, thanks for watching. Back to the fucking video. And we're back. Thank you for that. My back really hurts. That's preempting it if it's me. My back really hurts, but if it was one of you guys, fuck you guys. But yeah, so I've got a question before we finish the episode, which is an interesting question from my brother Josh 30S on Instagram.
Shameless plug for your own brother.
Shameless plug for my own brother. But he had a very interesting question.
Smiths, they're everywhere.
They're bloody everywhere, mate. Oh, we've got more questions now. Jesus
my
Christ. We'll go over Josh's and we'll answer the other two quickly. Why are people asking questions?
I'm quite happy to answer questions.
Cool. Let's go over them then. So my brother asked, what type of alcohol is going to have the next big resurgence/boom? Josh reckons he could see it being real ale or rum, which is really interesting because you see Strata are big for obviously wanting to push cask ale and stuff. Do you see cask ale or like real ale becoming sort of like the new resurgence, or do you see something new coming in? Because obviously craft beer has become quite popular and all that stuff. So what do you reckon?
I'm probably not the person to ask about various other types of alcohol because I don't really drink it. I drink predominantly beer, and if I ever do have alcohol, it tends to be like amaretto on ice or whatever. I'm a bit vanilla when it comes to drinking spirits, mainly because they just don't agree with me very well in terms of heartburn and or hangover. Real ale, there's been a resurgence in real ale and cask beer over the last however many years, and a lot of that has been down to CAMRA campaign for real ale, and cask really and craft beer do tend to go well together, hand in hand. A lot of breweries will brew cask and keg. I feel a bit of a fraud, and I do say this quite often. I feel a bit of a fraud because we don't have a cask line in the bar. But there was two reasons for that when we set everything up. A, the cellar is really small, so trying to still like a 9-gallon of and then having one ready to go on, we don't really have the space for it. I was also worried that being a bit different and not serving spirits and everything else, the bar would never be as popular as it would probably need to be to get through a cask in a week, because I wanted to serve it in the best condition. I didn't want to be tipping half a cask away because we'd only got through half of it. So yeah, if you can't do cask properly, then I'd rather not do it. Plus, there's the vault down the road. So Ian and Kate keep a good cellar. You know, they know what they're doing with cask. That's Ian's speciality, and I didn't kind of want to tread on their toes. As for rum being the next big thing, people have been banging on about rum being the next big thing for at least the last 5 years, and it's still not really doing it. I mean, there's whiskey as well, and different types of bourbon. I think if you're into those things, you've already started to find those premium products, those niche or those top quality whiskies and bourbons and other such things. So I couldn't say. I know that natural wine is a big thing. I want to try and get some in at the bar, but again, I don't drink wine because it gives me chronic heartburn, and I really struggle selling stuff that I don't drink myself because I can't sell it to people because I don't feel like I'm qualified to talk about it. I can bang on about beer for hours, as I have done today, but. Natural wine I think is something to look out for. It's something that people are definitely getting into and trying. I want to try and do more on the cider front, but again, because of where we are, we have struggled. I was talking to Katie Mather from Corto the other week on the Instagram live stuff that I was doing for the bar, because she's big into cider and supporting a lot of the small cideries. But I don't really know enough about it because it's not that I don't like cider, it's just that I've never really got into it like I've got into beer. So I would struggle to find those things. I need to probably make more of an effort to try and figure it out. But so to answer Josh's question, I don't fucking know.
Fair enough. This isn't a question for you, Meni, but it's more of a question for Luke, but he's not here. But we'll answer it the best we can.
I'm sure we'll be able to cover
it. So, Jack Lynn.
Oh, God.
Jack_Lynn_I_think. So, Jack Lynn, I think, but it is Jack Lynn, my guy. He asks, Does Luke still have that Telecaster he got from Cash Converters?
Didn't he like strip it back and like rebuild it all or something?
Yeah, but he fucked it up because he does it all the time. There's like this really funny story, right? So, before I got my new car, I had my Polo, and I'd blown the speakers on it by playing really bassy music too loud. You know, standard what you do when you're 19. And Luke had the same model Polo as me before he binned it.
Isn't this when he says, "Oh, I can fix your speakers for you"?
He does this all the time. So he said, "Don't worry."
Like when he tried fixing all this in here.
Yeah, and he tried fixing Nick's guitar and fucked that up as well. He was like, "Oh yeah, I had the same problem. I'll fix it for you. Not a problem." So it's pissing it down. Obviously, it's the UK, and so we take it to Tesco car park because it's got shelter. And he's like, "So we take my door off. He looks at it and goes, This wasn't like my Polo. Yours haven't ever been resoldered. They're like factory new. They're like, I can't fix it for you, mate. So I'm fucking sat there. Like we've been sat there for about half an hour trying to get the door off anyway. So I think whatever, I'll bang my door back on. Took us an hour to get the door back on, and then we had to bring Callum Fish down because he knows his bit about cars, and he had to come and fix it. Like, and I was just like, fucking hell, Luke, I'm never asking you to fix anything again in my life. But yeah, so if he's still got that guitar from Cash Converters, then chances are he's messed with the soldering, he's messed with the pickups, and it's fucked. So he probably sold it back to Cash Converters for like 10 quid. So yeah, that's probably to answer your question. Luke might say different, or he might agree. So you know,
just a disclaimer: I quite like Luke, so I'm not getting involved in any sort of Luke bashing.
Oh, we all like Luke.
I didn't come here to talk shit about other people.
We all like Luke, but we also
it's just typical Luke. Tackle that.
Yeah, we just
take
give
something
him
apart
shit.
and then give up halfway through.
He'd be giving me shit if he was here as well. You know, it's one of them bash your boys and all that in more than one way.
20 quid.
20 quid. Don't threaten me with a good time. And then Kurt Sumner, the OG, love Kurt. What a guy. He asked, "What's been the easiest and hardest transition from being a teacher to running tap?"
Easiest thing has been not getting my ass out of bed in the morning. I can't stress enough of like how shit I am at getting out of bed in the morning. I'm a natural night owl, and I always have been. Remember my mum when I was a kid used to shout me to get up for school, and I'd snooze and go back to sleep and then she'd come in screaming, going mental. And especially in the winter, I'd get up, I'd grab my towel, I'd go into the bathroom. We had like a heated towel rail. I'd put the towel over the towel rail, and I'd just go back to sleep, stood up, because I just couldn't wake up in the morning. Still can't. I mean, my natural sort of sleep pattern's like 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. So that for me has been superb. I feel like a human being again. I used to be able to survive on like 4 or 5 hours sleep a night, and then I got to 30, and it just started killing me. I'm fairly sure it's affected permanently my short-term memory, because I just fish. A complete can't remember anything. Can't remember random shit that happened in a film that I saw 20 years ago, but I can't remember whether. Sometimes I get in the shower, I can't remember if I washed my hair yet or not. Definitely blame that on sleep deprivation. Don't do it, kids. Get plenty of night's sleep, but yeah, if you can't get up in the morning, don't be a teacher. It's the worst. The hardest thing, I think, just not having that safety net of a proper full-time wage and school holidays and regular time off and all that you get from being employed by somebody else. As soon as now I'm responsible for everything. That's terrible. It was bad enough being responsible for like children in a classroom. Now I'm responsible for employees and paying the taxman and suppliers, which some of them are probably, not that they'll probably see this anyway, but I definitely owe them money that I should have paid last week and I've forgotten about because I'm just crap at doing my accounts on time.
So I owed Joel 25 quid and I forgot to pay him. He had to remind me when I got here. I was like, oh shit, sorry.
Well, for the t-shirt that he's wearing.
He might have forgotten after this.
If he wasn't wearing the t-shirt, I'd have forgotten.
He was like, oh, I've got this t-shirt, don't fit me. You know what? I was like, 25 quid. I was like, yeah.
First time I've been into
town.
And
then I wore it and he was like, have you sent me money for that? I'm like, no. Sorry, mate.
First time I've been into town for ages, went to Remix, I'm getting a new t-shirt. Picked it up on like medium, that'll be right. Got home and it absolutely drowned me. I was like, this is something Leo would wear. Meshes him in 2 seconds, like, yeah, I'll have it.
Well, I'm coming out here tonight. I was trying to decide what t-shirt to wear, and I thought, I'll wear something nice and bright because it's sunny out. And I put a DC t-shirt on. It's sort of like this golden orangey kind of colour. And then I think with lockdown and the bar being shut, I've put on a little bit. I think I've probably got to the age now where I'm 36 years old and should probably just admit that I don't fit into medium t-shirts very well anymore. And just start just buying large on as a regular ongoing thing. This is a medium though, but it's an American medium, so Americans are fat.
Yeah, I felt for that when I went to New York. I went into the van store and I'm like, yeah, I just saw a nice top and a nice jumper. The top fit all right, but the big hoodie that I got, I was like, yeah, get a medium, it'll be fine. And it's like down to my knees. I barely wear it.
American sizes for the win. Make me feel less of a chunk.
Fair enough. Well, I think we'll call it there then, boys. Thank you very much for joining us, Meni. Really appreciate it. It's been a very insightful and interesting podcast, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Do you have any final words for the people at home? A beer you'd recommend right now? Come to Tap Select. Also, I will leave your Instagram and the website details down below. So if you are in the area and you want beer delivering, Meni will still deliver. If you want to come into the bar, grab something. What would be one beer at the moment that you've got in that you'd say, come and get this now?
Oh, we've had some really good stuff recently. I'm just trying to think what's still in the fridge because we've fired through a ton of stuff. We got some cans from Drop Project down in London. The lovely Robin now works for them. She was a rep for me previously at a couple of other places, and she's moved on to Drop Project. They're doing some really exciting stuff. They did a collab with Rivy the other week, so I met some of the guys over at the Rivy tap room. So their fruited sour sliced to 6.3%,
nice.
Mango and pineapple and something else, I think. Sour, it's dead fruity, dead tasty. That's dead good. We've got a lovely sort of Bristol collaboration beer called Sharing Strength, and that is Rosie from Good Libations. That's her sort of, she reps for those breweries all in that area and got most of them together, and they've done a really nice strong 7% tasty fruity bad boy.
Nice.
So you should get that as well while we've still got some left.
Class.
But yeah, it's that old question of people coming, well, what do you recommend? Well, literally everything, because I don't sell
shit.
Yeah,
class.
Better when we come in and just play tap roulette. And
we just play tap roulette. If you're ever in tap, we create a game called Tap Roulette. So basically, what you do is you say to Meni or whoever else is on the bar, you say we're playing tap roulette. What my limit is like £5, and you go right, no worries, and then we close our eyes, put our card there. And Meni gets a beer and we bang it on, pay for it, and then we don't know the can, we don't know anything, we drink it, see if it's nice, and then if we like it, we ask what it is afterwards. But tap roulette, Meni always has good choices, so fantastic. So yeah, thank you for joining us. That's the end of this week's episode. And do you have any final words, Joe?
Put some sun cream on this week, it's going to be out. And
always wear your coat in the rain. Fantastic. Peace. Every day.